Still waiting. All right, just hold that thought. We'll come back to that as soon as I get the wave from Lucy. Okay, reading from Matthew chapter 5, verses 10 to 12, just the words of Jesus himself. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. And in John 15, 20 to 21, Jesus also said, remember the words I spoke to you, no servant is greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. If they obeyed my teaching, they will obey yours also. They will treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. When we began our series of studies on Satan's attack on the church through apostasy and on the world in general by the deceptive religions of changing natural elements, and you'll know what I'm referring to there. I'm a little bit careful what I say on podcasts and things and live streams. But other ones such as Satanism, paganism and the New Age, I had no idea at all. Above all today, I pray that you will be able to keep these two passages that we just looked at in the very forefront of your mind. They are absolutely imperative in the light of what is happening today, even right here in Australia. So please refer back to those two passages during the week, Matthew 5, 10 to 12, John 15, 20 to 21. And I hope and pray that you'll find encouragement and strength as we look at these things today. So like you, and I guess the rest of Australia, I was shocked, appalled, outraged and exceedingly saddened by the murder of two young police officers, neighbour of a property in the Queensland town of Warrnambool, I think it is, Warrnambool, in December last year. Now, the police officers were just going about their legal duty. They were going to partly legally during the lockdown period, and when his bogged and abandoned car was found, it contained illegal firearms, things that are only just being released to the public. So it would seem that there was already some evil intent in place. In what seems somewhat strange to us, the domestic arrangements between him and his brother and his ex-wife, who was now married to his brother, seem a little hard to understand, but that was the way that it was playing out. And his former wife had divorced him to be with his brother. As tragic as the incident was, and there is no doubt that it is, and it ought to outrage every law-abiding citizen of this and that, an undertone that we know. The events had started to fade a little from the news, as these events tend to do, as sad as they may be and shocking as they are. And the world moves on a little, except of course for those who lost their loved ones in this tragedy. But things changed a little during the week when I watched, and I don't know whether you did, a show called Under Investigation on Channel 9 on Wednesday night, hosted by reporter Liz Hayes. Because in it we saw an absolute attempt to blame the whole of that shooting on Christians who believe in what the Scripture says. Recent comments from Queensland Police and the media were all culminated in a barrage last Wednesday night of almost hatred against Bible-believing Christians. If you get a chance, if you can find it, go and have a look at it. It is a warning, or it should be a warning, to all Christians, especially those with that biblical view of end times teaching, that we are the evil ones, that we somehow, because of our belief, are the cause of this shooting. Now, the three perpetrators had apparently had some media, electronic media platforms, and they had spoken about their belief in the second coming of Christ. And because of that, there has been a great exaggeration of what the facts really were. The whole of this program and the narrative being put forward generally is to make a belief that somehow, a belief in what we know the Scripture teaches, has led to this evil occurrence. Deputy Police Commissioner Tracy Linfold says, and I quote, "This was a religiously motivated terrorist attack. After investigations of Stacey Train's diary, texts and social media posts, we've been able to glean that the Train family members subscribe to what we would call a broad Christian fundamental belief system known as premillennialism." Now, that's a part of what we believe. We also believe in pre-tribulation. That is, that the church is raptured before the tribulation. The tribulation then takes place for 7 years, and before the millennium, pre to the millennial kingdom, Christ returns. Now, they talked specifically about their belief in premillennialism. We believe, she went on to say, it's connected to a Christian extremist ideology. Note the language that is being used here to describe those who genuinely believe in the Scriptures. There was a belief, she said, that Christ would return to the earth and provide peace and prosperity, the millennial kingdom. But it will be preceded by an era or period of time of tribulation and widespread destruction and suffering. And in that statement alone by the Deputy Police Commissioner from Queensland, there is such a mocking scorn upon what the Bible teaches. There is, she said, a belief that Jesus would return to the earth. Guilty. There is a belief that he would set up a period of peace and prosperity. Guilty. There is a belief that before that happens, there would be an era of tribulation and trial upon the earth, which would cause much suffering. Guilty. But those beliefs which the Bible teaches cannot, under any circumstances or in any way, be associated with the evil acts that these three people perpetrated against those police officers and their neighbour. And anyone who knows the Scriptures, anyone who knows the New Testament, anyone who knows the teaching of Christ himself will know that there can be absolutely no involvement of one within the other. Christian extremist ideology, she continued, has been linked to other attacks in the world, such as the Waco